I'm Mike Dimas, and this is Pinball Shenanigans. Alright, boys and girls, things are moving and shaking in the pinball world as usual. This is the Ice Fever, ready to go to Maple Pinball, so that is probably getting picked up next week. And there is a pinball tournament happening December 4th at Maple Pinball in Mississauga. So if you're local and want to get in on the action, Shane Jackson is running that. He's got about 40 pinball machines. I've never been to an event there, and I'm going to go, and it's going to be awesome. I'll do a tour of the action while we are there to check out the Maple Pinball facility, and Shane will probably give us a little tour of the action. Another side note, someone just messaged me about my Data East Star Trek. They want me to ship that to, where do they want me to ship it to? New Brunswick. So we'll see about that, if that actually pans out or not. So that would be cool for some space. And I've got a reply to TX Sector. It might actually be going to Japan. So stay tuned for that. I'll give an update on that. It's a bit of an interesting story. The buyer is just kind of like facilitating a transaction for his buyer, his customer in Japan, and it was very, very, very red flaggy, very sketchy, very like spammy, and I instantly was like, no, that's never going to happen. Then I actually did a little due diligence, and turns out that it's probably very legit. Well, it is legit. I've talked to a couple people he's actually dealt with. So, we'll see what happens. So TX Sector might be going to, I don't know really for sure if it's going to Japan, but this buyer here is just a sort of middle manning facilitating the transaction. So TX might be going far away. Ice Fever's not going too far. Star Trek might be going to New Brunswick. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to start working on Harlem Globetrotters. I brought the head in. Thank you, honey, for helping me bring that in. She's not here right now, but if she ever watches one day, she will hear that, but that's never going to happen. Yes, Harlem Globetrotters. Got the head. I'm going to have to carry that downstairs to deal with that. But while it's here, let's take a peek and see what we got going on. I have a feeling there's something fishy going on with this power supply. Now, I can't remember if I just saw that when I picked it up, or it's something to do with the way the harness was yesterday when we were looking at it. But I'm thinking there might be a chance that I might have to replace the power supply. Check out this back glass. That is really, really nice. The last Harlem I had, it was just all so bad at the very bottom. I actually spent hours gluing it back together again with crazy glue, and it worked out okay, but man, this is a nice back glass compared. Okay, so everything looks good here. Let's see. Yeah, so I do recall the this is a really old, is it Alltech? It is Alltech. That it actually has leads for batteries. It's not like a built-in NVRAM. This must be one of the earliest permutations of Alltech. I'm going to have to look into that, but at least it's Alltech and not original, because that should be much better for reliability. The solenoid driver, yeah, it looks like the main capacitors have been updated, but they also look still very old. But that is very workable. Something may be going on with the those blue resistors there. I don't know if that's normal. I don't feel like it is. And there's like a capacitor piggyback to another capacitor. Interesting. Doesn't look like any transistors were replaced that I can see off the bat. So yeah, I think that's a very workable solenoid driver. Lamp drivers are always fine. Soundboard, you never know about those, but should be good. And then, yeah, so this power supply has been worked on. I do recall this when I picked it up. All the bridges have been replaced. Who knows? Maybe it works, but not really loving it, so I may replace that. Now, I haven't actually done one before. I've done a lot of things, but I haven't replaced a power supply before. It's fairly straightforward. You just solder the wires from the transformer to the back of the power supply. You just don't want to screw anything up. There's about, I don't know, 9 or 10 of them, I think. So yeah, that may be what has to happen. Because there is something going on here, something going on here, here. Yeah, okay. Well, that's definitely food for thought. I could, for fun, just check the voltages coming off of that for testing. But you know what? If I'm going to change the power supply, I'll probably do it without putting the head on. I'll just set the head on my my table there. But okay, so that's what we got going on with this. Looking pretty good. Not bad at all. Check the other side. Yeah, that's faded, but it ain't so bad. Nice back glass. Displays. Let's see the displays. Actually, take a quick peek at those. Yeah, they look like they're okay. You know, I don't see any burn holes, which is common. So, all right, I'm gonna drag this thing down the stairs, and we'll proceed from there. All right, I think I've decided I'm just gonna completely assemble the machine, connect it all up, and go backwards from there. That's what I'm gonna do. It's maybe not the most ideal way. I don't know. It's the shenanigander way, though. So what I have done is reasonably straightened out this piece of metal here, the grill. It was much worse than it is, and it's much better now. So, and just kind of cleaned up the dust in and around the head area. So that's all ready for heady. And yeah, I don't think there's really any other preparations I need to do. You know, my cord's good. It's like an old lamp cord. It's probably fine, but who knows? I might change it. But that's not anything that's urgent, so if there's no ground pin, that would be like probably the first thing I would do. But there's a ground pin, it's probably fine. I can test that. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna drag the head down the stairs now. Also, I'm gonna like soak this area at some point, take a brush to it and see if I can tidy that up. But this area here, I'm gonna have to take a little more stuff apart. Is this broken? No, okay, that's fine. Make sure that's grounded. Okay, so that is what I'm gonna do next. I found where that mystery rubber came from. It is for under this little bar here. It's missing on the other side. So that's, I guess, for when you're, let's see, when you close your Playfield back up so it doesn't, I don't know, so your Playfield doesn't run into this. It's a little bumper. So I don't know. I don't think that's too necessary to try and find a replacement for that because it's clearly broken off and this one's a little bit loose, so you can see how over time they get whacked. So that's where the mystery rubber came from the last episode. And if you recall, there was a little bit of duct tape right over here. So it turns out that this ground strap was on the other side of the screw, like just kind of flopping, and the duct tape was holding the ground strap to the screw. Why? I don't know. So I just removed the nut and put the ground strap there, and now we're good to go. So all I need to do is grab a washer and a lock nut, and that should be fine and dandy. So maybe I'll do that now since I'm thinking about it. All right, just like that, a washer and a nut, and our lock bar receiver arm is good to go. All right, I like it. All right, let's lug this head up to the cabinet in the old shenanigander fashion. All right, there we go. Globetrotters has a head, and I don't know, maybe I'll stick in the Playfield now. Not really sure yet. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I removed the key that was screwed to the coin door, and tried to stick it into the head. It was being a little bit stubborn, but with a little bit of WD-40, it's in there nice, and check it out. It is in fact for the back box, which is sweet. And the key that is in the coin door right now is perfectly sufficient for that, but it's a little sloppy. I may change it out. We'll see. Sometimes I just like adding new locks for the fun of it, but if I can tighten it all up, and it's, see, like the lever kind of hits that screw a little bit, which is also annoying. So there will be some adjusting going on there, but got the key to the coin door, key to the back box, and I obviously wasn't very observant because these keys are for $6 Million Man. So I will put those back with that machine, so it is where it needs to be. So that is sorted out. Keys done. Okay, so just tidying up the wiring here. I had to remove these 4 wire clips when I took the head off the machine. Typically, you know, they're just screwed right through both sides here, but over the years, people figure that, hey, if you just screw in the one side, that you can get the wires in and out nice and easily. So I've done that to these 4 guys. That's tidied up. I'm going to plug in probably just the input to the power supply, test the voltages, and then I'll test the voltages on the solenoid driver next. That resistor looks a little toasty, so yeah, we'll just do it step by step, checking our voltages as we go. I think it's probably time to throw in the Playfield. Let's see. All right, before I power this thing on, I had to check the fuses, of course, and so this is what was in the one. I just don't like these old paper-looking ones. I didn't even check the rating on this. It looks like, I think I'm seeing 10 amp there, which is correct. So that guy was here, so I replaced him because I didn't like him. That was actually correct, 3/4 amp fuse for the displays. This 4 amp fuse it's supposed to be was a 5 amp in there. This 5 amp was actually correct. This 20 amp, it was is actually, there was a 15 amp in there. And this 3 amp slow blow, what was in there again? It wasn't correct, but so I replaced this one, this one, this one, and this one. So 4 out of 6. And I did discover for sure that these orange wires just get tied together. I don't know why, but You can see the darkness of that orange there, and the darkness of the orange there. They did add similar orange. They stuck with orange. So that's just a temporary to do some testing. I'm not quite sure what this ground wire is yet. It's stuck to that. I think it might be probably for the hack that is on the Playfield wiring here. I think it was attached to this green ground there for the Playfield. So this is completely out of the equation. I think I'm safe to turn on the machine and just make sure this isn't touching anything or snip it right off. But I think that is going to be the next step now that the fuses are checked. I think I just need to have J3 connector plugged in. As you can see, I got my schematics going on here. J1 just goes to the Playfield, J2 goes to the cabinet. So I don't think I need those at all just to test these voltages. So the test points were all kind of squished down. I've pulled them all out so I can get nice access to them. I'm still not loving the look of this power supply, that's for sure, but I do want to proceed anyway for now and see where I get. So let's get this set up and test some voltages. Okay, I think I'm ready to power this machine on for the first time. No, I'm not. I gotta plug it in. One moment. Alright, you never know if the machine's powered on or off, so gonna get my hand on the power button just in case I want to power it off in a hurry. Alright, so far so good. Plugged her in. No explosions. Here we go. I'm gonna turn it on in 3, 2, 1. Okay, nothing happened. That's good. I didn't see any fuses blow. I didn't see any smoke, fire. So let's see if we've got some proper voltages. Hopefully you can see everything. Let's see what we get here. Okay. Be careful when doing this. You could die. So I got my little cheat sheet here. Test point 1 is 8 volts DC. So we're on DC, test point 1 here. What do we got? Nothing. Test point 2 is DC. Nothing. Test point 3 is DC. Nothing. Test point 4 is AC. So we'll go over to test point 5. Okay, so I probably need to connect one of the other two connectors, I guess, or both. Unless I have a blown line fuse. So probably, maybe the machine was already on and I just turned it off. Let's switch it the other way. You never know, right? Okay. Now let's see. Test point 1, 8 volts. No. Nope. Okay. So I will figure this out. I'll be right back. All right, I think I got this figured out. J1, being the cabinet, needs to be plugged in because otherwise, how does the power go from the power switch to the power cord to the transformer to the boards, right? So I unplugged everything else. I noticed CPU and solenoid driver still had some crap connected. So here we go. We're going to power this on. Ah, look at that. General illumination in the back box. We got some AC voltage. Oh, and nothing blue that I seen in terms of fuses, so that's good. Okay, now back to the program here. All right, test point 1 should be 8 volts. DC. We are at 5.6. Maybe that is okay because it's maybe under load. Test point 2 should be 230 volts. Oh, sorry. I think I'm reading that wrong. Test point 1 should be 5.4 volts. There we go. Test point 2 should be 230 for the displays. We got 180, so that's a little low, but That's probably okay. Now, test point 3 is 11.9. We got 12.6, so that's good. Test point 5, we're going to jump to 43 volts for solenoids, I believe. And we're at 40 volts. Now let's switch to AC. Check test point 4, which is our general illumination, which we know we have, but let's check it anyway. Come on. Aren't I not on AC? Yep. 7.08, which is perfect. So, power supply voltages are good. So I'm going to plug in the solenoid driver and we'll check those voltages next. Alright, so I plugged in the 2 connectors for the solenoid driver up here. I think power goes in there and comes out there, but I could be wrong. Let's power this on. So far so good. And see if we got some voltages there. Alright, so my cheat sheet says test point 1 should be 5 volts. Here's where a little extra light would come in handy. Okay, test point 5 up here is giving us 15 volts. What is test point 5? Should be about 12, so that's cool. Test point 1 is right below. It's giving us 5.12, that's a good sign. Yep, that's right. Okay, and then test point 3 down here I think should be the same. 4.97. Test point 1, 5.12. There's a little bit of a difference there. That seems okay though. Here's test point 7. That says, come on, test point 7. 4.93, which is supposed to be solenoid driver doesn't show test point 7, so maybe it's not that pertinent. I'm not going to test the high voltages because I don't want to die. But let's see. So test point 5 is good. 3, 2, and 1. We got all our 5 volts. The other voltages I think are just for the displays, so we don't need to worry about that. You know what? I think it's time to basically plug everything in and see what happens. So let's do that. Okay, so I have everything but the Playfield connected. Probably not going to see a whole lot of action. Let's just see if we might get sound, actually, and we might hopefully see 7 LED flashes on our MPU here. Can you see that? That is the goal. Let's turn this on and see what happens. Oh, wrong LED. The green one we're looking at. 5, 6, 7, 8. No, it was probably 7. Okay, so that red light I'll have to check the manual, but the red LED I believe is just confirming that there's 5 volts to the power supply. And, to the CPU, which, because we got our 7 flashes, we know it's actually booted up. Oh, check this out. I hear some buzzing going on. That is the sound of the displays turning on and off. It's the old high score to date. Okay, let's see. Oh, we're missing 1 digit on player 4. I don't know if you can see that. Yep. That I can fix. Look at that. Every light bulb on the back box is actually working, I think. Huh, that's rare. Okay, so that's a really good start. I guess I'm going to install the Playfield, but that'll take me a little bit because I got to unhack that connector. So far so good though. We're making progress. All right, it's Playfield time. All right, here's the hackery that I'm dealing with. We've got a green wire tied in to the green wire on this connector, which is J1 to the power supply. And it looks like, I don't know if there's the blue wire going off that, which is really green, which is ground. Okay, anyway, as you can see, this is a complete disaster. And then look, you got another wire way back here that used to go somewhere. Oh, I guess that used to go here. But where did the rest of the wire go? So, this is interesting. I remember pulling this connector out of the housing when I was picking up the machine. So I looked at my photos, and it originally was right there. That's where this came from. That is about pin 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, I think 13. Okay, so that's where that came from. But looking at the J1 connector, this is pin, this brown wire is pin number, well, there is, it calls for here, pin 6 on J1, the color code is 60. 60, as you can see, is brown, no trace. So J1 technically supposed to have a connector, a wire in pin 6, which it does not. So this obviously goes there, and that's where I'm going to put it. Well, I'm going to be putting a new connector on altogether for starters. But this definitely was in that spot on J1. Now, I did look at J1 pin 13, which is solenoid bus, and pin 6 on J1 is solenoid bus. So maybe it's the same circuit and it's fine. Probably was. I'm guessing it was. Why it was changed, I'm not sure. Maybe there's a burnt trace. Maybe that's why. So, you know, sometimes there's good reason why hacks have been done. So if I plug the brown wire and move it from here over to here, and I don't have any solenoids, then I think that means we have a bad trace on our power supply. So first thing I'm going to do is redo this rat's nest, and then I'll plug in all the rest of the connectors to the Playfield, and we'll see what happens. Alright, let's check out the mess I just made here. So, repinning has happened. Here's the old connector, and here's the wire that was attached to the power supply, which I don't think we have a need for anymore. And here's all the repinning stuffs. And here is the new connector. Isn't that look a little better? Added some red wire because that one was cut so short. Probably add another zip tie there. But yeah, so all the other wires are in good shape. So, time to plug in the Playfield and see what happens. Okay, before I get too far ahead of myself, I almost forgot to insert my little key, so you can't plug in that connector upside down. I still have to deal with this. Then it reminded me that there was no keys in the CPU two plugs here, so I added that white key there so you can't plug that in incorrectly, so that's good. Then I was going to add one to the bottom CPU connector, and I noticed the pins are a little crusty, and that's an important connector. So I'm going to repin that first. But I'm guessing the reason there's no key in this one is because those pins, those are actually pretty shiny. So I think someone repinned that at one point. I did see a lot of spare pins in the head and cabinet. So somebody was doing some repinning. So I think this connector is okay, nice and shiny. But I am going to redo this connector and add the little key before I proceed and deal with orange wire. All right, so finally, I've got this connector all repinned, nice shiny pins. I got my little key in there, wrote repinned on it just for my own sanity. And same with that connector there. Oh, I also tidied up this wire. Probably should zip tie that as well. And yeah, so I think I'm ready to plug these connectors in. I unconnected them a little bit to give me some more play there. But yeah, so it's time. One moment, I will be right back. All right, it is officially time. Everything I think is connected. The wires are all fed in there pretty nicely. Let's close up the door here so we can see some displays. I've got a ball in the machine. All right, there's nothing left to do but turn this bad boy on. Here it is. Let's see what we get. Ooh, I see a track mode. Well, a couple strange noises coming out of the soundboard there, but maybe that's okay. All right, well, let's, I don't know if this is set for free play or I need to add credits or what, but let's put it through a bit of a test here and see what we can see. That should be fine. All right, start button. Okay. Oh, drop targets did not reset. So maybe I was right about that. Ball did not kick into the shooter lane. I think we got no solenoids, so that is probably why that hack was there. I guess I could maybe swap that pin from the one, that brown wire from the one connector to the other connector. See if that does something. Yeah, okay. They just don't have solenoids, but so far everything else seems to be okay. What about scoring? Let's check that. Everything else seems to work. Cool. So, I think we know what's going on with that brown wire now. Well, definitely not a bad start though. I think I probably should change the power supply. Wait a minute, if I was getting 43 volts, oh yeah, like we said, 43 volts for the solenoids or whatever it is, 50 volts or 48. If we're getting that at the test point, then shouldn't that be good to the Playfield? No, I guess. Maybe I should test continuity just to prove that that theory is true. But it's not a bad start. I'm pretty happy with the progress thus far. And yeah, I have a feeling that that hack was there for a good reason. So I think I'll quit on this note, and yeah, I'm pretty pleased so far. So far, so good. Well, stay tuned. We'll see what happens on the next one. Thanks for watching.